Hi there and welcome. I promise I'm not as tired as I look, but I thought I would give a quick little introduction. I decided to do another interview style video with my grandfather, who is an Orthodox priest. Today we are talking about the saints' faith, hope, love, and their mother Sophia, as well as the Maccabees, and how they were able to basically sacrifice everything for God. So I hope you all enjoy. Please excuse the technical difficulties that were in the video. The fan on the ceiling was on and I forgot to shut it off until the second half of the video. So again, I'm sorry, and let's just jump right in.
Thank you for having me back again. And it's good to share some of my thoughts. I think it's important about what is a woman, and a woman, to me, of course, a man has deep love for his children, but the sacrificial love of a woman for her children is something special.
Yeah, definitely.
That's something special. And I just, there's two sets of saints that I would like to speak about tonight. And I think that demonstrate, and sometimes you may think in a strange way, but it demonstrates this sacrificial love of a woman for her children. And I've chosen two martyrs, well, sets of martyrs, one from the Old Testament, one from the New Testament. And from the Old Testament, I'm speaking about the Maccabees. And this was, forgive me, I have some notes here because I don't always remember everything like I used to when I was a young man. But this was in 167 BC. And there are 7 Maccabees. Now this book of the Maccabees, that's not something that you find in the King James Version or some of the more modern texts. But we Orthodox consider it to be one of the canonical scriptures.
Right. If I can interject real quick, why do the Protestants cut it out of their Bibles? Do you know, or?
I really can't tell you how that occurred.
That's all right. Yeah, that's all right.
I didn't think that. I don't know. I really don't know.
That's okay. That's okay.
The 7 Maccabees. There was a mother, Salomania, and Eleazar was a priest, a Jewish priest, and there were 7 sons of Salomania. 7 sons. And they were faithful to the Jewish revelation, the Jewish covenant. This was before Christ came to fulfill the Jewish covenant. His family, they suffered through the purity of the Israelite faith. And as most people know, the Jews do not eat pork. To eat pork is a sign that you've apostatized from the Israelite faith, from the Jewish faith. At least it was back in those days. Okay, so for the sins of Jerusalem, the sins of idolatry, and other sins that were committed back in those days by the Jewish people, God let loose a great calamity on the holy city, Jerusalem. And the king Antiochus desired to bring the Jews to idolatry. He commanded all Jews to eat pork, and the priest Eleazar refused. He was tortured. He was burned. And then the king took the 7 young men and their mother, Salomania. Before the mother's eyes, these 7 sons were tortured, one after the other.
Hi, Editing Lydia here. So I didn't want to leave in a lot of the graphic details, especially about how everybody passed away, just because I didn't want to get flagged or censored by YouTube. I really want to be careful, and I know that they are very selective about certain things that you are allowed to share on YouTube, and so I just want to be kind of cautious. So I edited out a lot of the more graphic details, and if you're interested in exactly how these people were martyred, then you should certainly go look it up online. You can find the story of the Maccabees, I'm sure, pretty easily, as well as the different saints, Sophia and her children. So be sure to go check those out to really get a full picture. But I know that this message is still very important, a beautiful reminder for us all. And so I think that it's still worth sharing, even though I can't exactly leave all of the graphic details in the video.
She didn't protest. She witnessed the slaying of her 7 sons.
Right, right. And I think it's important maybe too to clarify that what she did in that moment isn't suicide. It's not
No.
suicidal.
I'm sure she would have been tortured to death in any case.
Right.
So that's the 7 Maccabees. That's a very well-known story. And we have the story of Saint Sophia, who was a mother, and she had 3 daughters, Faith, Hope, and Love, beautiful young children. They lived in Rome. Saint Sophia became a widow. Her husband died, and she raised her 3 daughters with piety and according to the Christian faith. This was in the times of persecution.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that in itself was a courageous thing to do.
Right.
So they lived together happily until they were brought before the judge, before the emperor, for the crime of being Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And they were asked to sacrifice to the idols, and they firmly refused. That was because of their faith in Christ. They were not sacrificed. This was a goddess Artemis that they were asked to sacrifice to, and they, down to the youngest one, 9-year-old Love. They all refused adamantly to sacrifice to idols. The emperor gave them leave to reconsider, and the typical thing back in those days of martyrdom, they were praised, and you really don't want to see, just throw incense to the idol or whatever. It's
Right,
okay.
right.
We don't ask you to change your faith.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They refused.
Yeah.
They refused. These daughters were steeped in the Christian faith and in the Christian virtues, and they're named for the 3 primary Christian virtues: faith, hope, and charity. St. Paul says love is the greatest, but they're all part of our Christian faith. When they were sentenced to death, the mothers urged her daughters to endure till the end. She encouraged them in their martyrdom. She watched each one, first faith, then hope, then love.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
No, you can't imagine. Nowadays, that's just beyond the conception of most mothers, certainly, who love their children and would do anything to protect them.
Right.
And in the end, they suffered and they died for the sake of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Sophia buried them, and she stayed with them for 3 days, praying for them, 3 days and nights, and finally she gave her soul to God. She did not suffer torture in the physical sense.
No,
but
no.
To imagine what she suffered for her children.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, how does that show sacrificial love of a mother? Wouldn't she protect them by any means? She sacrificed her love, her natural maternal love for her children. She sacrificed for the higher love of God.
Right.
And I would say that in the case of the Maccabees too.
That's what the Theotokos had too, when the Mother of God, when she watched
her
son.
her only son, Jesus Christ, die on the cross. So it's just something that we should think about in our day and age. Christians are being persecuted all around the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Christianity is the most persecuted faith in the world. And Orthodoxy, above all, is being persecuted because there are entities out there who detest the faith because we profess a true, pure faith of the Holy Fathers.
So, what would you say are some things that we could maybe do to even just a little bit prepare ourselves for that?
We can prepare ourselves for the bad times ahead by things like buying survival foods or starting a little garden. Or getting some flock of chickens and having our eggs, whatever.
Right. A little homestead or something.
Little homestead, those things, that's great. When it really comes to
it,
the important thing is to keep the faith.
Right, right.
To really, go to church, receive the sacraments, pray as much as we can, and pray to God to guard and protect us in these troubling times that are coming. And that's the thing, to have faith that God will protect us and He will guard us. And if we have to suffer, suffering is part of life.
Yeah.
Nobody on this earth has ever lived a life without suffering. And if they have, then they have no faith. I mean, they're outside the church.
Yeah.
We need faith in God to put our trust in Him. Trust ye not in princes and the sons of men in whom there is no salvation, as David says in the Psalms. Trust in God.
Yeah.
Never trust in yourself.
Yeah.
Without God, we we're doomed. With God, all things are possible. Remember that, to have faith in God, not just to believe that He exists. The devils believe He exists and they tremble.
Right, right. That is true.
But to put our faith in God that He will guard and protect us. Whatever happens to us happens for a reason, and it's according to God's providence. And in the end, all things work together for the good for those who love God. And then there's hope that we hope that in the heavenly kingdom that is to come, and that God will continue to love us and receive us into His heavenly kingdom. And the love itself, as St. Paul says, is the chief of the virtues.
Yeah.
To love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and our neighbor as ourselves. Love. Without love, doesn't matter how much we do, with good deeds or anything else might people say, oh, that's a good person. Look at that. He did this. He did that. Without love, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
We have to love one another. We have to love our enemies.
Yeah, which is
that's
hard.
That's the biggest test of our love.
Yeah.
Not if we love God. It's easy to love God.
Right.
But can we love our enemies?
Yeah,
those who persecute us, those who slander us.
Yeah.
But that's what the Bible tells us to do.
Yeah, even those who could torture.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, that certainly is a struggle. And on a very basic level, how could we prepare or just kind of soften our hearts towards our enemies?
We have to think less of ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to try to overcome that ego, that false ego in us that we think is our real self.
Yeah.
That takes humility. Pray for humility.
Yeah.
Don't think of yourself as something special, as something better than anyone else. St. Paul says, I'm the least of sinners. Who are we? St. Paul says he is the least of sinners.
Yeah.
So, humility, love God at first, and love our fellow human being, even those who despise us, even those who persecute us, even those who may someday torture us.
Right.
I mean, God forbid. But if that happens, we pray that God gives us the strength and the faith to endure.
Yeah.
Those who endure till the end will be saved.
Things are always changing. Yeah. And I think especially the past, 6 or so years, we've really seen quite a shift in a lot of different things.
Yeah. And I think, like Jesus says, when I come back, will I find faith? It's like the love of many will grow cold. That's what it says in the scriptures that will happen in the last days. Love of many will grow cold. I'm with people who naturally, according to the natural man, we're selfish. We're self-centered. We think of ourselves first. To be a Christian isn't just to take the name of Christ, to say I believe in Christ. As I said, devils believe and they tremble. It's to live the life of self-sacrificial love, and we can see that especially in the mother.
Yeah.
Who truly loves her children and wants the best for them, and will do anything. Sacrifice her own life if need be. Yeah. For the sake of her children. And that's so special. And that's something that we all have to learn. That sacrificial love is not just. What to say? Oh, I love this. I love that person. I love God. Those are words.
Right.
When the push comes to the shove, what's that love? Is it real love?
Yeah.
And put it to the test. And that's what we have to think about. We have to examine ourselves and see: do we have pride? Do we have vainglory? Are we truly willing to give up everything for Christ if need be?
Yeah.
Are we willing to sacrifice ourselves for the sake of our loved ones?
Right.
These are all things that we should consider. Do this, and if we continue to pray and to ask God for help, He will help us.
Yeah. Especially since it's wanting to better ourselves.
Do we do good things to people so we look good among, our peers and our friends and our family? So they think, oh, look at that, he does that, he's a good person. Or do we do it for the sake of God? Because we know that if we do evil things, that we will sadden God.
Yeah, it's easy to get distracted and to think just about the people around you, and sometimes not even about God. I'll admit that I'm guilty of that.
Well, we all are.
Just thinking, about people around me and not if God would be pleased if I did this or that.
But how am I going to look if I do this? People are going to think I'm a bad person.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's at least if that puts a curb on your evil impulses. It's a good thing. But
But it's a deeper level.
It's a deeper level,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
A very powerful lesson learning about these
Long
women,
lesson.
and yeah, it
It's a
is. It
lifelong
really
lesson.
is.
Read about the saints. Read
Yep.
about the courageous women saints. There's many of them.
Yeah, there really are, and there's a lot of parallels between them, but I think really good parallels that show the sacrifices and how they submit to God.
Yes,
Ultimately,
yes.
submitting isn't a bad thing.
No, it's what God expects, and it's what we need to do in order to gain, the love of God and to approach the heavenly kingdom.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for doing another interview.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So if anyone has any questions for my grandpa, you can either email him again. I'll put the email up on the screen and down below in the description box, or you can also comment if you have any questions. And I'm sure that in the near future we can set up another interview type thing like this. So thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.